Hey guys, Dylan Tommy here, hanging out in the green room, and I'll run through and we'll check out the tanks. I'll show you what I've been up to recently. I made a decision to disassemble a lot of my 10 gallons. A lot of the smaller systems I was running just for either plant grow outs or keep our microfauna alive. Just a lot of work in systems that I weren't really doing much in. So I decided to take them all down, and one of those systems was Mojo's tank. He had recently passed, and what I have down here right now, just because there's full spectrum light, is a lot of my succulents, and they're just kind of growing out. But like I said, I wanted to devote a lot of my energy on the new systems, like this vivarium and the paludarium. So I'll quickly run through. We'll check out this system first. I recently added a new light, a full spectrum 6500K bright daylight bulb onto that tank, and I regret not doing it 3 or 4 months ago when I initially planted out this tank, because the plants really seem to be reacting to this brighter spectrum. But right now this system's off. I told you that it's now completely automated. This system runs on a drip that goes off every 4.5 hours or so. Just like the paludarium. The paludarium will run on a slow drip system. But check out the 55. I gave you guys a sneak peek of it just the other day, and these baby tears are out of control. I considered trimming them today, getting in here and scaping out this tank, but I decided we'll catch it on camera before I get in here and do my aquascaping. I'm gonna have some serious growth in here. Everything's looking really lush, and I can just imagine what the tank will look like once I do some serious trimming. So that's in the works. Just wanted to show you some of this lush baby tear growth before I chopped it down. But we'll keep cruising. Another tank that I've been working on recently is this tank down here, which I actually pulled a lot of stuff out of Mojo's tank, that small 10 gallon that I had down here, such as this Anubias and this large piece of driftwood with the baby tears kind of hanging off of it, just to add it to the system. There's nothing in this system right now except for a couple shrimp and some snails. So fairly a new system, and I just wanted to keep this Anubias alive. It's a really old plant, probably one of the first aquatic plants I've ever purchased, and it's literally been living in that 10 gallon tank that Mojo was in for close to 5 years now. So I wanted to keep some of those plants alive, and they're kind of hanging out down here in these 20s. These 20s that I'm keeping alive really don't have much going on. A couple plants and some snails and just a couple little shrimp in here. But I've been trying to keep some of these harder to keep plants alive, like this Ludwigia and some of the crypts I have in this tank. But still not sure what I want to do with those 20 longs. They're very lush systems, but we're going to keep them thriving for now. We'll dive right in and check out the crypts. They are getting so huge. Look at these guys. They're so big, and I still haven't decided what I want to do with them. They're so cool. It's been hard to part with them. This is the dominant guy right here. He's the largest one in the tank. He's looking awesome. But they're still hanging out in this thick vegetation. They do well in a jungle scape, just because they're kind of temperamental fish. They do a lot of hiding, and they'll spend a lot of time in the thick vegetation for comfort. So they've really been cool and beautiful. But I'm not too sure what I'm going to do with the crebensis just yet. I thought they would be gone by now, but we're still growing them out in here, and I'm still enjoying them. So time will tell with those albinos. But let's pop over to the guppy tank. If you notice, I actually have some sub-adults swimming in the water column now, which I think is very cool. A lot of the younger live-bearing fry will spend a lot of their younger life in the thick vegetation. Like you see, I have some baby tears down here in the thick moss, and won't really venture into the water column until they're large enough to hang, so to speak, and feed out of the debris in that water column with the rest of these adult fish. So I have 6 of these sub-adults, and they've made their way into the water column. They're no longer swimming amongst the thick vegetation down here. And I'm sure I have lots of young fry that I can't even see because they're buried down in all this thick vegetation. But the guppies have been fun. They're really cool fish. I'm loving the colors lately, and I'm curious to see what these 6 fish will look like when they finally grow out. But I'm gonna keep cruising. The guppy tank is rocking. The green room's rocking right now. And I'm happy to manage just these 5 systems in this room and the vivarium. Wanted to kind of limit my multi-tank fanaticism. And you guys who are multi-tank freaks out there can maybe relate to having maybe just one too many systems, because I did need to kind of make a decision and take down some 10-gallon tanks. So let's run in here. The Birch tank is just another system that I wanted to devote more effort and more energy to. I mean, it's a larger system. It's got a beautiful colony growing in here, and really healthy fish. These subadults are huge now. Look at this guy. I really enjoy watching them develop. That's the funnest thing about this colony, is watching them grow from tiny little, you know, wigglers to free swimming fry to subadults that, you know, swim all over this tank. Same thing with the Julies. Wasn't too sure if the Julies are going to last in this system when I added them about 11 months ago, before the Birch had spawned, and they've done just fine. They've cohabitated in here with this large colony of Nilamprologus birchardi. And I don't know if I had mentioned in a last update, oh no, I must not have, because this new spawn happened about 4 or 5 days ago. So that's something to update in this tank. These fish are most certainly breeding machines. They don't want to stop, it seems. Every time I kind of look in this corner at these shells, I see a new batch of young fry. Very cool system. Like I said, want to focus on a lot of my larger systems and maintaining these tanks. We'll quickly pop over to the paludarium. Even though I just updated this system recently, told you guys about my new sump filter that I have running beneath this tank, and I couldn't be more happy. This tank being on a timer and being automated, there's really a lot less maintenance and work I need to do as far as you know, keeping the moss wet and keeping the habitat stable, because it is automated now. And I've noticed recently that the newts have been doing a lot of hiding. They do spend a lot of time under this underhang here. Is he there? He might be. Oh, he is there. Yeah, that's their new spot, is right under this underhang. And haven't seen them come out too much recently. They've been doing a lot of terrestrial living and utilizing, you know, all the hiding places they can up here, you know, on the rock work and the moss work. But really digging this system, and am happy to maintain it for as long as I can. Another reason, like I said, to really clean up some of my older tanks and my older, tinier systems, just to you know, dedicate my effort and my energy to awesome tanks that look like that. Well, let's keep going, guys. The Mbuna definitely need an update. I've considered recently, you know, getting rid of the Mbuna, and I wasn't quite sure what was going to happen as far as their you know, continued development here in Natural Aquatics. I considered for some time to utilize this 55-gallon for a planted tank, but I've always liked this naturalized scape, this Malawi biotope with the algae-ridden rock scape and these large Mbuna. And the truth is these fish have, you know, spent their entire life growing out in this 55-gallon, and they've really grown on me. They're all characters, they all have their own persona, and I just can't seem to give them up. I considered for a small amount of time adding them to another larger African tank that was already established and getting them into a bigger system. But I've since changed my mind, because I'm really digging these Mbuna. They're a fish I just don't want to part with. As much as I love the planted tank, and as much as I considered planting this tank and being rid of the Africans, They're just too cool. Too cool. Some large fish that I just enjoy. So the Mbuna will stick around for now, I guess. Really cool species. Really cool tank. I mean, there's only 7 of them in here now, but they fill out the tank. I've actually recently tried to remove a lot of the larger rock to you know, give them more space, a little bit of water volume, and larger holes so they can utilize these tunnels. But I did want to update the green room and the Mbuna. For now, I'll say they're sticking around. I really dig these guys. And the tank, as far as aggression or territorialness, has been very minor. I mean, we got Vader, he's the boss man, but he's been so cool lately. Well, there's the fish room update, guys. Appreciate you hanging out. Nothing but gratitude and respect for you guys. You guys have a good one. Peace.